Alrighty guys, let's talk about the market manipulation, also potentially known as an expansion, depending on where you are in the market and what it is that you're seeing. So in this case scenario, we can see the following. I have my divisions of my daily division and the New York session that I like to trade. In this case scenario, one thing that we are going to be closely paying attention to is going to be those expansions or those manipulations that I'm talking about. Now, 80 to 90% of the time, it's going to be happening during London session. Now, as we can see, during London session, we have the huge moves. This right here is London session. Okay, started London session, huge move to the upside. That's that expansion or manipulation. What do we have right here? Huge move to downside, expansion or manipulation. And then right over here, we have this huge move, expansion or manipulation. As we continue on seeing, this happens over and over, and it's going to be happening around 80 to 90% of the time, guys. Now, once we are able to identify this, our next criteria, our next point of view is going to be, okay, now that I know the expansion, I want to see what's going to happen in New York session to see if there's going to be a potential continuation towards that expansion or a retracement towards the beginning of that expansion. So in this case scenario, we can see very clearly how we had that nice expansion, market start to go ahead and consolidate, goes up one more time, breaks out these highs, and then finally comes back down to what? To test the point of that expansion. So in New York session, you're typically going to be seeing these nice great entries that are going to be happening based off of what already happened in London. This is why I like to trade New York, because you already have hints of what's going on based off what happened on London session. In this case scenario over here, let's look at this. We have a nice expansion that happened during London session. Market retraces, comes and fulfills that imbalance zone, and then continues on expanding. So what we are expecting to do is expecting to continue with the overall bias, which is going to be bearish. In this case scenario, we can see how market continues on going bearish and bearish. These are things that we want to be taking into consideration. What happens right here? Now this one's a little bit different. In this case scenario, we see a expansion to the upside in the market. So we see that nice manipulation comes down, goes up one more time, comes down once again, and when it comes down before New York session opens, okay, we can see how market went ahead and created some nice liquidity. Okay, we went ahead and created some nice liquidity. So as we can expect is for market to potentially continue on going down, to take out this liquidity, potentially test, and then continue going down. Now, you're not going to be seeing these moves all the time. However, when they do happen, you can go ahead and take advantage of them. In this case scenario, we can see how market comes down, comes back up, tests a point of interest. Ideally, you would like to see it test a imbalance zone or a discount level. At this point, it is a discount level. However, I would have rather seen it come into the area of imbalance because we have confirmed that we took out liquidity below, and we are more likely going to continue on moving down. So if you do not have that entry, no worries, because the next day is more likely going to happen again. Now let's go over here on some more examples. We can see how market went ahead and manipulated to the upside. We can see nice manipulation to the upside, comes back down, retraces towards New York session, and in New York session we don't really have nothing, right? Again, because 80 to 90% of the time, it's not going to happen all the time. However, one thing that you can expect is going to be that manipulation of London session. Okay, what do we see over here? Nice manipulation of London session, comes back up, and then what are we doing? We're just stalling right here. So we never really came back down into that area until practically the end of the session, and I really don't want to trade towards the end of the session. So 80 to 90% of the time, and then when it doesn't happen during London session, what's going to happen is that's going to happen during New York session. So in this case scenario, you can see that we did have a manipulation or expansion, and comes back up, and then in New York session we had what? That manipulation expansion test and then continue, but that continuation was out of the New York session, was out of the time that I like to trade in consideration. So one thing to always look at, guys, is going to be what happens on London session. You knowing what happens on London session is going to give you another idea towards what you can start doing on New York session. Of course, there's more confirmations towards trading New York session and what are the things to take in consideration. However, this lesson is particularly expansion, also considered as a potential manipulation. I'm not going too much into strategy. I'm just letting you guys know at what time you can expect these manipulations, and the reason why you expect these manipulations for the simple cause that there are banks coming into the market and they want to go ahead and either collect orders or get rid of orders that they had left in the past, or collect new orders, like I said, for potential distributions or accumulations in the future. So with that being said, guys, take in consideration the potential manipulations that will happen in that will happen in London session. Now, if you are trading London session, let me tell you the following. These manipulations are typically going to happen at 12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, also known as 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So 12:30 a.m. PST, which is Pacific Standard Time, and 2:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So let's look at this right here. We have 2, and then at 2:30, what do we start seeing? We start seeing that move to the upside. We start seeing this move to the upside at 2:30. Okay, now let's go over here. Next day, we have 1, 2, and then right here, 2:30, we have that manipulation to the upside, coming into what? Zones of imbalance for continuations to the downside. Let's go over to this day. So over here on this day, we can see a 1, and then 12:30. We saw a manipulation. We didn't see a retracement back into that area of imbalance. So typically those manipulations are going to go into those areas of imbalance. Now again, there's more into the strategy. However, I just want you guys to take in consideration what times you will be seeing manipulations, that way you are careful of what's going to be happening. You're going to be seeing them either at around London session, and the specific time is going to be from 12 to 12:30. And if you don't see it on London session, you'll be seeing them on New York session, which is going to be at 5 or 5:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is also known the start of New York session. So I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video. It's not too much into a strategy like I mentioned, but I do talk about the manipulation, which is very important for you guys to take in consideration. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this quick video. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Have a great one. Bye-bye.